8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I'm trying to figure something out, Joan.
What is it?
So I'm on X.
Yeah.
At Dan Manda Show.
Joan P. Jones.
Yes, Joan P. Jones. And I'm trying to pull up Donald Trump so that I can search it so that I can find the audio of him talking about Elon Musk and so forth. And I go to search it, and it says something went wrong. Try reloading.
Oh, do you think he was blocked?
I can't imagine that Elon Musk would actually block anything that has to do with an algorithm involving Donald Trump. I don't think that he would do that. But for the life of me, can you try to see if it comes up on your computer? Because I want to play that audio.
Like his actual account or just Donald Trump
No,
searching in general?
just Donald Trump.
Mine worked fine. But I'm trying to find that audio as well.
Yeah, see if you can find it. Because I thought that it was a hoot. You know, I mean, I don't like the fact that he's talking about wanting to deport Elon Musk.
I think it's just I think it's just your computer that's having issues.
It is because I'm good. I've got it. But he doesn't post on X like he does on Truth Social.
Right. All I'm looking for is the audio from outside of the airplane that was about 45 minutes ago.
I don't see it there. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah. You're not missing it. I have some of it.
Okay.
But, I don't have all of it because once we go live on the air, I stop recording.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't have it.
All right. Very good. Well, basically, there's a bit of a controversy going on where Elon Musk is saying that he's going to, as a matter of fact, this says breaking news on CNN. Musk vows to unseat Republicans who back Trump agenda bill. As a matter of fact, this was just a few minutes ago. Elon Musk saying that he's basically going to try to unseat these Republicans who support this bill. So there you go. We'll have to wait and see if he Trump. This comes after Trump threatened DOJ probe of subsidies for Musk's companies. It's been a really interesting back and forth between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And, at some point we'll get the audio from President Trump when he was talking about Elon Musk and what he wants to do with Elon. Somebody apparently at some point this morning asked the president somewhere what he thought about deporting Elon Musk. And the president apparently said that it was something that he would look at. And I want Trump to stop it. I do. I want Donald Trump to stop it. You've got far, far bigger fish to fry than Elon Musk. He is, and I know that he's a very powerful guy. By the way, one of the questions, because Elon said overnight, one of the things that he said was, okay, if this passes, then I'm going to start my own political party. It'll be like the America First Party, and the.
You want to get that?
No, it's kind of funny though, Joan. I'm on there like every day, 5 to 9, have been for years, and somebody's calling me. Anyway, so so the Daily Dan poll was: would you follow Elon Musk into a new political party that focused on fiscal conservatism? And so KGB, this was 3 hours ago we posted it. What are people saying?
Still a majority of no, 75 to 25 no.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I want to do a couple of things. I'm all disjointed because I got 9 things going on and I didn't finish the segment and so forth. Now my phone's ringing. So I want to talk about whether or not the mayoral guy, I want to make sure people understand what it was Zoran Mandami is accused of doing. So, because we spoke a little bit about this with Jonathan Fahey, but he fills out this form. It's an N-400. He filled it out in 2018, and when you fill these out, one of the questions that is asked is, okay, so, do you have any sympathy for terrorist organizations or something like that? And in 2018, he answered, no, he does not have any sympathy for terrorist organizations or however it is that they phrase it. But in 2017, he wrote this song where he basically is praising the Holy Land Five. The Holy Land Five is a group convicted in 2008 for funneling over $12 million to Hamas. He says, my love to the Holy Land Five, you better look them up and Free the Holy Land 5, my guys. So obviously he does have some sympathy for, either a terrorist organization or people that have sympathy for terrorist organizations. But, I mean, if they were funneling $12 million to Hamas, then they are terrorists. And so, yeah, I believe that he actually should be investigated. Andy Ogles was on Newsmax last night. This is part of what he said. Listen.
Part of the process when you fill out the naturalization forms, which, here's a copy of one here, is you've got to disclose your activities. So like communism, anti-American activities. And so in 2018, when he was naturalized, he failed to disclose some of the things that he had been doing, one of which was joining the Democrat Socialists of America. That's a communist organization, which, quite frankly, at that time would have disqualified him from becoming a United States citizen. So what we're encouraging to do is the Justice Department to look into the timing of his joining that organization. It would have been anti-American. It would have fit the definition of what he would have been required to disclose, and quite frankly, would have made him most likely ineligible to become a naturalized citizen.
Right. So if you think about it, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but if you go down this road, it sounds like Andy Ogles has him dead to rights. Now, do I believe that he's going to be deported? No. Do I think that he's going to be denaturalized, Zoran Mandami? Do I believe that he's going to be deported and denaturalized? No, I don't. But it appears that he did lie on that form. Nobody has the testicular fortitude to try to do that, but I think that it would be really, really fun. But beyond all of that, another question that was asked of Caroline Levitt yesterday about Donald Trump and his relationship with the New York mayor if he actually ends up winning. We'll talk about that straight ahead. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, today a high of 88 and possible thunderstorms. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, so what would actually happen if Zoran Mandami was elected mayor of the city of New York?
Could President Trump see himself working with a mayor, Mamdani, somebody who, on Meet the Press this weekend, was given 3 chances to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, but he couldn't?
Yeah, look, the president is always willing to work with everyone. He's working with Democrats across the country, Democrat governors, and he said he'll work with people on the far left. He works with Republicans. He works with people in the middle. He wants to do what's right for America, but surely someone who holds these values and is quite literally a communist and condemns every value that makes this country great. Common sense, law and order, low taxes, working hard, and earning your keep in this country. He's against all of that, and I think the president would find it difficult to work with someone like that. If he is elected, I'm sure you'll hear more from the president on that, but we'll have to see. Hopefully the voters of New York City choose wisely.
You know, one of the things, and this is well-worn territory, at least on this show, is what he wants to do with city-run grocery stores. This is from Fox News. Economists and business leaders are sounding the alarm over New York mayoral candidate Zoran Mandami's plan to roll out city-owned grocery stores that he says will lower food costs. They say you don't lower grocery bills by having government-run stores. That is according to a top economist at the libertarian-leaning Cato Institute, a guy by the name of Ryan Bourne, telling Fox Business government-run entities have no market discipline, no need to earn profits, compete, or serve customers efficiently. That leads to bloated costs, empty shelves, and zero accountability. I mean, part of what might happen is that the city of New York is so nasty towards, profit. So if like a Walmart, or I don't know what they have in New York, a Walmart, Kroger, whatever. But if you end up with all of these city-run stores, well, then a Walmart's going to say, screw it, I'm going to leave. The bodegas that are all over New York, You got these city-run stores, and the bodegas can't really compete with it, perhaps. We'll have to see what happens. But all of a sudden, they want to put all of these other stores out of business because, they're for profit. Well, so what happens when something happens to your city-run stores? Then there's going to be a food shortage. And that's what people are worried about, a food shortage. EJ Antoni, of course, you know EJ. He's been on my show many times. He was on Fox News as well. He says the other problem we're going to face is that if he, Mamdani, is selling things substantially less than the private market, who is going to want to go to the private market? Everyone is going to want to go to these grocery stores. And ultimately, Antoni says that the city-run grocery stores do have the potential to exacerbate food shortages in New York City. So, yeah, this is going to be a big problem. Now, where are we with the big, beautiful bill? Have they finished Joan, have they finished the vote-a-rama yet?
Nope.
Still
going.
So they're going on 24 hours.
Yes, 24 hours as of just about 10 minutes from now.
My heart breaks for them. They work so hard.
One day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching on C-SPAN, which is a great way to watch because you can just watch without having to get all the commentary about it. And all it says right now is waiting for a senator to speak. But what's happening is that I was watching Fox News for a little bit, and they were saying that there's a gaggle of people who are meeting just outside of the camera eye, and they're meeting with Lisa Murkowski, and they're meeting with Rand Paul, two of the holdouts.
Right.
Here. And so Lisa Murkowski had wanted for the cuts from Medicaid to not happen to her state. So she wanted Alaska to be carved out of that. And Rand Paul, they were talking about maybe doing something with the debt ceiling so that it would be more acceptable to him. So those conversations are happening right now on the floor. They're not doing any debating. They're not entertaining any more of these amendments from Democrat senators. So right now, there's just,
it's almost like shut up, the adults are talking.
Right, exactly. Well, this is how the sausage is made, and we get to watch it in real time. If you're interested and you want to see what's happening, you can watch it. It's very interesting.
So can you imagine how angry all the other senators are going to be if Lisa Murkowski,
Can you imagine?
Alaska, right?
Yes, Alaska.
So can you imagine if Lisa Murkowski gets a carve-out for the Medicaid cuts for her state? How then if she gets it for her state, but like all these other states going to be like, what's up with that?
They might be able to persuade her if they do a delayed start to that program for her state.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
But at this point, it doesn't appear that they've got the votes. Otherwise, they'd be voting on it.
I think I've seen a couple of articles in the last couple of days where she was actually flirting with Democrats. She was flirting with going and becoming a Democrat.
I wish she would. I just wish she would. And then they could vote her out of office in Alaska and stop fooling themselves.
Into thinking that she's a good Republican?
Right.
Yeah. I get it.
How they keep on voting her in, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if she ticks him off enough because she says she's a Democrat.
I don't know. You know what I think about when I hear the name Lisa Murkowski? I think of...
Make it stop!
That's what I think about with Lisa Murkowski.
Took you a long time to bring that back, Dan.
You know what? I know. I'm so discombobulated today just because of everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's been a busy day.
The full story behind...
Make it stop!
That.
Yes.
Coming up at 8:35 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones at 8:22. By the way, the Super Text line is open. Thank you for all the feedback. Joan, what's coming up at 8:30? 8:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Murphy Show is still out. So he's going to be 2 weeks out with that shoulder of his, that bionic shoulder of his. And so I don't even know who's on when today.
Where's the work ethic, Murphy?
Oh, no. He tried. He actually did try. So I think today's what? Today is Tuesday?
Yes.
So I think that I don't know who's on where. I got a memo
So
on this.
I think
but
it's Chris still. Chris is still taking over for the drive. Brian Wilson's going to take over for Chris, and Chad's staying where he is.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
All
And,
right.
well, honestly, it's probably a good time to get your couple days extra off because, again, we're off Thursday and Friday.
Right. Yeah. Worst of Mandis apparently is what we're going to be running.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were slim pickings.
Moving right along. All right. It's 8:39, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. All right. So President Trump, do we know, Joan, if the president is there at Alligator Alcatraz as of yet?
I don't know if he's there on the ground yet. I know he left much earlier this morning. I'm assuming he had a direct flight.
How long would the flight have
Already.
been?
Couldn't have been long. It's, 2 hours?
Yeah. It's, and he's going to land right. I'm assuming he's going to land right there at the facility.
You would think.
Must be nice being president.
Well, yeah, there's the whole thing about getting shot at all the time. But other
Yeah.
than that, I'm sure it's
But
great.
flight scheduling, you don't have to worry about going on an airport or have to deal with security. You just get on a plane.
Sure, yeah.
That's the dream.
And all the millions of dollars that he's lost through legal fees, his business being decimated. Must be great, KGB.
Yeah, it must be terrific to be the president.
You see what I'm doing? I'm piling on poor KGB.
Still free flights.
Yeah, well, okay, there's that. All right, real quick. So I've got some great audio. People have asked me, actually, Joan, to replay this audio from the 5 o'clock hour.
Yes.
The nut job that is really angry over these alligator Alcatraz is what it is. So listen to this. This woman lost her mind.
I need somebody to tell me that I'd not just walk upstairs and see a clip on the news talking about Alligator Alcatraz, a prison camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida to throw immigrants into. Truly, what the f*** is happening when they're in the middle of construction of a prison camp in the Everglades to throw immigrants into, which by the looks of it, of what I saw on the screen, looked just like several rows of cargo shipping containers. They're building a ton of shipping containers that they're going to throw human beings into because they're immigrants.
So they're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens. They're violent criminals as well. But that's to be expected. I don't need to go through yet again how the left takes over language and how they, especially with this particular issue, where they're always saying, oh, the immigrants. It's like, no, they're illegal aliens and they're criminals. You nutjob leftist. And they're not using, by the way, they're not using shipping containers either. They're using light structures so that they can be put up and put down very quickly.
If that wasn't already horrifying enough to throw human beings into containers, Florida had to Florida and be like, you know what, I'll do you one better. Not only are we going to make this disgusting prison camp, but we're going to put it right in the Everglades next to all the gators and joyfully refer to it as Alligator Alcatraz. No, absolutely not. Just make it stop. Make it stop.
You know, it really is that last part.
Make it stop.
Where I don't know what that is.
It's a siren wailing.
I mean, do you think she was really that upset? Or do you think that this is just, one of these social media theatrical kind of a thing?
Make it stop!
Where she's just being dumb?
It could be.
They need so much attention.
I would, you know what? I mean, maybe it's because I get attention, like, on the radio, kind of. But I can't imagine making a complete and utter fool of yourself.
Make it stop!
For attention.
Yeah.
I spend most of my day wanting to be ignored, as a matter of fact.
Oh, my gosh.
Except for the 4 hours that I'm on the radio.
Make it stop!
And the other, 4 hours before you were on here.
Well, yeah, if I'm working and I'm talking on the radio, then I want people to pay attention. But, other than that, leave me alone. Unless you're a listener and you're wanting to say hi.
Well, the difference the difference between you and them is they want to be professional victims, and you are just calling it with the news. You're just relaying the news with your own opinions, which is fine, but you're not saying, oh, woe is me, feel sorry for me.
Well, the other problem is, oftentimes when I speak, people say,
make it stop!
There's that problem too. All right, real quick. I have not done this yet, and I'm very upset with myself. So, the big controversy right now, Joan, with CNN and the app tracker, the ICE
I
app tracker.
saw this.
So this is on CNN. This is yesterday.
The Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. And it's controversial, to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire? And what are the legal implications?
So you know what they're doing, right? I know Joan knows what they're doing. What they're doing is they're pretending this is a story. But what they're really doing is they're promoting the app.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
The tech reporter at CNN seemed kind of giddy to promote it.
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want.
Right, and a lot of people are saying, yeah, that actually could be illegal. It could be interpreted as illegal. And basically how the thing works, you know how the Waze app works? Where if you're driving along and, you know, your little blue dot or whatever it is on the map and there's a slow traffic or an accident, you can put on the Waze app where there is an accident. Well, it's the same thing with this. You're going to have a bunch of people with this app, and then they're going to start putting on the app where the ICE van is. And then all those people that are on the app are going to get a push notification that warns them where the ICE van is. Now, I believe what they should do, I believe that as conservatives, what we should do is we should all download the app and we should all just start saying ICE is everywhere so that it totally dilutes what the leftists are trying to do.
Continuously pressing it as they get notifications nonstop, so they have to cancel, I
think that would be great. I do believe that's
what Waze also does. Waze also puts where police cars are, like where speed traps are. Mm-hmm. You can put like a speed trap kind of on there as well.
Oh, I know.
But that's different than kind of interfering with the government, law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for bad guys is what they're doing.
That's saying, hey, slow down on this road, not, hey, avoid this if you're committing crimes.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, I've reported this a number of different times, but do you really trust Trende Aragua and MS-13 not to use this to target members of ICE? There was a shooting. Somebody told me about this last night. There was a shooting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where it was an ambush. A couple of police officers were shot. One of them died last night, as a matter of fact, and it was an ambush. Over the weekend, the firefighter who there were a couple of firefighters that were killed. The perpetrator, the alleged shooter, started a fire. This was in Idaho. He starts a fire in the mountains, and the fire department shows up, and a couple of firefighters get out. And this wackadoo shoots him dead. Again, another ambush. And so now we've got CNN, and they're promoting this app that could clearly be used as an ambush as well. I mean, it is unbelievable. We had that vice mayor in Los Angeles, remember this, that seemed to call out the local gangs for not coming out against ICE, and she called ICE, a big gang in their own right. And ICE agents are also getting docked. So you've got all of this gang activity. Trende Aragua, a while back, you may remember this, where Trende Aragua actually threatened our ICE officers. Their leadership has instructed members of Trende Aragua to go after and kill ICE agents. Pam Bondi heard about this, and she was really angry that CNN decided that it would be a good idea to promote this app. And this is what she said on Sean Hannity's show.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. And people, obviously, our ICE agents, all of our federal agents who are working hand in hand on these task forces, our federal agents from the Justice Department could be injured. He's giving a message to criminals where our federal officers are, and he cannot do that. And we are looking at it. We are looking at him, and he better watch out, because that's not a protected speech. That is threatening the lives of our law enforcement officers throughout this country. And shame on CNN. I just saw that for the first time when you showed it, that they're promoting that app. That's shame on them for doing that. That could hurt our law enforcement officers who are out there protecting them, protecting all of us every single day.
Well, that's exactly right. And also, one of the things that when you hear Pam Bondi speak, when you hear Tom Homan speak, it's just common sense. And she's right, because you got all these people that are going to have this app in this community. Well, what's so dumb is they're trying to deter ICE from picking up the bad guys that are more than likely terrorizing their community. ICE is trying to get the gang members that are terrorizing that community. It just doesn't make any sense. But then again, this is why things get so crazy here in America, especially on the left, because things that don't make any sense makes all the sense in the world to the other side. Meantime, Tom Homan, he was on one of the podcasts, Benny Johnson, and he was ticked as well. I think he was more angry or angrier than Pam Bondi. Listen to what he had to say.
What's your response to CNN?
It's disgusting. I mean, I cannot believe we're in a world where the men and women who enforce the law are the bad guys, and one who broke the law, they're victims. And look, it's already a dangerous job. You know, ICE agents are arresting the worst of the worst. President Trump committed from day one. We're going to concentrate our effort on public safety threats and national security threats. So right there, the job's already dangerous. But when you're out there tracking ICE movements and giving people a heads up they're coming, that just puts the danger at a whole new level. You know, it's only a matter of time for someone sits in hiding and waits for an ICE agent and tries to take them out. I mean, this is horrendous that a national media outlet will be out there trying to forecast law enforcement operations throughout the country. I mean, it's incredible where we're at as a nation. And I think DOJ needs to look at this and see if they're crossing that line. I think we need to send a strong message that we need to protect the law enforcement personnel.
Yep. And I believe that Tom Homan is right. Now, just so you know that I know, this has actually been determined by the Supreme Court already in similar cases. And most times, if not every time, posting of that information has been allowed as, First Amendment and all that. So we'll have to see where that goes. By the way, Joan, we were talking about the guy that shot the two firefighters in Idaho.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure out what happened and why he did what he did. Have you heard what the grandfather said?
I've seen a couple of things that he said.
The grandfather, his thinking is that the shooter was rejected by the fire department. He wanted to be a firefighter, and he was rejected because he was too short. Do you know how short he was?
No.
5'8". So I'm calling BS on this because I don't know. I've seen some pretty short firefighters. I think they can be under 5'8". 5'8" isn't even short.
That's the average height.
Thank you, KGB.
No, like legitimately, like scientifically, that's the average height of man is 5'8".
Have you seen pictures of this person?
He looks awfully waif-like.
Okay, thank you. That is what my first thought, and if anybody can back me up on this, I would love this because I don't think it's abnormal to think this way. But first of all, he looked very young. So he was 20, but in my humble opinion, he looked about 15. And the long hair, and he looked waif-like, and he looked, I think that we are going to find at the end of this, I think there's a possibility that we'll find at the end of this, that there was some gender thing happening with him.
Oh, you know what?
As
now that I think about it, Joan,
yeah.
Now that you've mentioned it and I looked at the photo, he did just look a little off. Looked very waif-like, longish kind of hair.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
maybe.
I'm not pigeonholing anybody, but, we've seen the results of what happens when young people are put on these hormone blockers and just their bodies are sent into an absolute spiral from what the natural process is supposed to be. You can't tell me it doesn't mess up their head.
Oh, it absolutely messes with their head.
So, it's early on. We really don't know anything about it. That's my own personal speculation about what's going on here.
You know what? Flag the tape. We'll see if Joan Jones is right. I'm kind of backing you up on that, Joan.
Okay.
We'll have to see what happens. All right, it is 8:53 on, but he's dead. By the way, there is that too.
He is. Yeah.
8:53, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and there you go.
Yeah.